There seems to be a wide misconception about technology. How technology seems to be we place a good or a bad label on technology, but really, no, technology is a double-edged sword, and more getting to the core of the matter, technology is really amoral, totally amoral, right? There's no morals to it. Now, technology that does have moral components, right? For example, you can use a gun to harm other people, harm other sentient beings, right? Bring suffering upon people, or you can use a gun to create fireworks, right? As a beautiful display. Exactly the same technology, exactly the same, right? But the technology in and of itself is amoral, totally amoral. What's interesting is there's um, a lot of zeitgeist, a lot of talk about progress, right? Progress this, progress that. We have to make the definitions more specific, right? There is really no such thing as progress. There's only change. We can certainly talk about technological progress, absolutely, because one technology builds on top of another, just like culture, right? One culture builds on top of another culture. But when it comes to progress, like as a whole, right, that's a very loaded term, right? It's a very, it's mired in cultural connotations, right? It's really not a good word to use. Rather than progress, technological progress would be a much more descriptive term. And the reason why I talk about this is because there seems to be this idea that technology can solve all problems, right? If only we had fusion, if only we had AI, if only we had AGI, if only we had quantum computer, right? If only Mars call, if only. You're never going to be happy, right? You're never going to be happy like that, right? It's basically therapy. It's basically, it's exactly the same as addiction, where, when I don't want to, I don't want to oversimplify addiction because it's very complex, and I don't want to minimize or overgeneralize. But addiction comes from that same exact feeling, right? That feeling of uh, if only, right? If only, or I can never have enough. I can never have enough, right? And of course, that comes from trauma or helplessness, and lots of other factors. When it comes to technology, it's exactly the same. Technology has never solved a single problem. I'll say that again. Technology has never solved a single problem of humanity. Not a single. And the reason why I can say that with certainty is because technology is not about solving problems. It's really an expression of humanity. To give an example, the internal combustion engine, it quote unquote, solved the problem of horsepower, right? Before cars, buses, trucks, trains, we used horses or boats, right? But with the advent of steam engine, internal combustion engine, we changed to fossil fuels, right? So it seemed like we saw, quote unquote, solved that problem, but that's looking at it backwards, right? We're basically, it's post facto, right? We're we're using our logic to reason after it already happened, right? But that's not how it initially happened, right? This happens a lot with individuals, right? We use our emotions to actually act. Without emotions, we don't act at all, right? There's nothing pushing us. That's why it's called emotion. Emotion. Logic never gets us to act. Never, right? Logic has never gotten a single person to act. I will tell that again, right? Logic has never gotten a single person to act. It's always been emotion. We use logic to make reasons after the fact. The only person who may act logically possibly is an enlightened person. Enlightened, a person with like a cosmic level of consciousness, right? Connected to the universe, right? That's the only person who would be who would act logically. But that's besides the point. When it comes to all technology, every single technology is like that. Now, as I said, am I saying technology is bad? Of course not. Technology is not bad at all. But am I saying technology is good? I'm not saying technology is good either. It's totally amoral, like I mentioned initially. For example, the smallpox vaccine, right? With the smallpox vaccine, we freaking eradicated smallpox off the face of the earth. Right? And that's an amazing, amazing achievement, right? Of course, right? Of course. But that's after the fact. Before we had the vaccine, smallpox, while it was horrible, it was just a part of life, right? It was just a daily occurrence, right? Just like how we poop today, just like how we eat today, right? It's just a daily part of life, right? It's not a problem. Is it horrible? Absolutely. Of course it's horrible. But is it a problem? It's not a problem. We always justify technology after the fact. Really, the way I see technology is exactly the same as the humanities, as art and culture. Technology is exactly the same as music, dancing, cooking, painting, poetry. It's exactly the same as that. Which is to say, it's something we do because we're human. It's an expression of our humanity, but it's not something we do to solve problems. I love music. I love cooking. There's so many foods I want to try and so many foods I want to cook. I love dancing. I'm not a great dancer, but I'm learning. And there's beautiful, absolutely beautiful works of art, including, some of the most beautiful works of art really are actually my friends' expressions when I tell them a joke, or when they make a slight laugh, right? Or when the warmth of somebody's hand that I love, right? That's true beauty. But technology is exactly the same. Technology is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, in its capacity for creation and destruction. Like the atom bomb, looking at and listening to videos of the test detonations, it really is like I just feel every single emotion: fear, awe, beauty, uh, anger, frustration, joy, like the whole gamut of human emotion. It's just this is what it means to be human. And technology, for me, is an expression of being human.